Education.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Reason with Ashleigh-Ann Mowatt. I'm Ashleigh-Ann Mowatt with Makeda here and my special guest. And tonight we have a jam-packed show. When I say jam-packed, we cannot end 2020 until we get a few things off our chest, right? But before we get into the show, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of people on your screen and you're like, what's happening? Did the layout of Reason with Ashleigh Mowatt change? Well, it did for tonight, but for very good reason. We are going to be counting down the top 20 Jamaican news stories of 2020, right? We did part one couple weeks ago, just before Christmas, and now we are doing part two with the lovely Miss Elizabeth Gordon, and she is. Let me just go ahead and share a little bit about Elizabeth. Makeda wants to assist me with that. Now, Elizabeth is from the quiet capital of the Breadbasket Parish, St. Elizabeth. She's a teacher of social studies who attended the Michael College, now Michael University College. She's trained in public speaking, and she employs these skills when called on to be a chairperson of civic and church functions. She has been a radio program presenter, and most of all, she enjoys life in rural Jamaica. I do too, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining. We
Thank
also have,
you.
yes, we also have Miss BJ Pierce in the building. And she just make sure, say, when I asked her, Miss B, how you want to be introduced? What's wrong? How you want to be introduced? She said, Miss BJ Pierce. But I'm pretty sure you know her to be the lady who made a whole lot of noise in 2019 when she returned to Jamaica for I think it was after many years, and just rediscovered the island, brought us all over the island through her camera lens on her social media. Trust me, she's a travel journalist extraordinaire, and for me, a culture ambassador. And I have my lovely mom here, Miss Diana Mowatt, and she is an entrepreneur and one of my biggest supporters. And of course, Makeda. Makeda is scratching your head. All right. So we are here to discuss the top. No, we focused on 10 the last time. So we're doing 10 top Jamaican news stories of 2020. I will be sharing my pick, but I'm gonna do it like this. We're gonna go around the room and have you guys just share what is your top story at a time, and then we just come back around. All right, but before we get started, what is it? Before I get it started, I want to big up some of the people who are watching already and seeing Anne Karen in the building, Sky Lawson, right? Anne-Marie Carvalho, thank you. Anne-Marita Carvalho, thank you so much for joining, and the numbers are jumping up. Yes, say hi to Miss Carvalho. Tell her hi. Tell her hi. So I'm going to start with Elizabeth. On your list of topics for 2020, what would be one of those top discussion points for you?
Well, firstly, let me say good evening to all the listeners and viewers of Jamaica.com for this evening's show, and to the fellow panelists of your show. Wonderful being here. Thank you very much for the invitation, Ashleigh-Ann.
No problem.
Now, as it regards the story I've been looking at, it's the education system and how it was affected by COVID-19 for 2020. The closure of schools in Jamaica came as something that impacted persons across the globe. When we look at March 8th, where an announcement came that we should prepare for possible closure, and then schools were assisted with things like money to purchase hand sanitizers and things for sanitizing. And then came Thursday, March 12th, a date which I think will be in the minds of many, many Jamaicans, when through a press conference, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that effective Friday, March 13th, schools would be closing. And we thought this would have been for 14 days and then,
Yes.
assessment. And we saw wherein institutions across the island closed, including the Human Employment and Resource Training National Service Training Agency, that's HART NSTA. That I think is one of the big things that happened for 2020.
Okay, and I want to know why did you put education as yes, we can, I know all of us can attest to seeing so many stories coming out of the education sector in Jamaica, but for you, how did 2020 and all that happened in 2020 affected Jamaica in that sector, education?
Looking at sources online, we see where globally it said about 1.5 billion children were affected by not being able to participate in formal education. In Jamaica, what we had was approximately 627,000 children not being able to access education. And along with that, we saw about 31,000 teachers across the pre-primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions in Jamaica. Um, this would have accounted for a significant number within our population, and also to look at the possible effects on our society to come.
Yes, yes. I just want to get feedback from the other panelists for the purpose of this conversation. Diana, what is your perspective on how do you think teachers and students adapt? Do you think they've adapted well to all those changes in the education sector?
Good. First, let me say good evening to the panelists and for all those that are joining. I am not happy with what happened, and I have seen where it has impacted greatly in Jamaica. I've seen where students in the inner city community, students who are from the low income bracket, who are not able to access online education, it has affected them so much. And I have a pet peeve with that because to me, this COVID thing, and I'm not making any apologies, sorry, is a pandemic. Because, and one of my topics today is one of the greatest thing that one of the top stories was these teachers who went out into the inner city and painted the walls of the inner city black so that they could, and they set work on these walls so that the children who did not have access to online could get some form of learning. And another thing I have to, and I admire so much to mention, Janet Silvera, who used her page, her Facebook page, to get donation to help inner city children with tablets and books and a lot of things that she has done. And I'm saying, I am coming from a place where humble beginnings. And I am not technologically advanced. I don't know much about the computer like that. And I'm thinking about parents who doesn't even know how to turn on a computer. You understand? And then because of this epidemic or whatever they call it, I mean, you see where things are going down. The education system is falling drastically low, and it's affecting people who are from the low income group and who are not able to afford a computer, or even if they can get a tablet, they have to have internet. This costs, they have to buy, they have to pay the fee, or they have to buy credit to put on the phone so that the children can get it. And I'm saying, I mean, since they make it mandatory that you have to wear a mask, they should have made it mandatory that the government go into these communities that are not cannot get internet or whatever it is, and paint those walls, whatever it is, and get teachers to go there so that the education system can continue.
All right, a mouthful. A mouthful. And let me just add that I must commend all the teachers and the students who were able to, even those who tried to adapt to the changes as best as possible. I know for you, Elizabeth, you had to make those transition as well, right?
Yes,
and
it was.
Say that again.
Yes, it was hitting the rubber.
Yes.
The rubber hitting the road and just making do with whatever was available at that point in time.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna jump right over to Miss B. She's been quiet, but we're gonna do. It's time for us to hear that lovely voice. I want to know, what is one of the topics or one of the stories that stood out for you in 2020?
I'm sorry, you can't just slide by and leave me at the education piece. I happen to
Oh, I'm sorry.
yes,
Go ahead.
yes, a jacked up member of with Dick Levain's carpal tunnel and cubital tunnel, but I was a PC tech. I taught people how to build computers. We were bringing in, instead of bringing in clothes, my luggage would have computer parts. Part of all this goes back to basic illiteracy and a non-foundational situation where you let people actually have access to technology. The taxation on bringing in laptops, computers, and tablets and phones to Jamaica is too darn heavy. That's been half the cost. There have been people who have compiled rooms of equipment. I remember having thousands of computers available. The Jamaican government said we need somebody to go fly out and look for them. They were coming right off the desk. You know they're not old because companies roll out every 3 to 6 months. The Dominican government said, hold up, where them there? Next thing I knew, they were on a boat gone. Jamaica's response and view of technology has always been a divide and conquer situation. Yes. We don't make use of solar technology enough to even wire up places for them to have connectivity. It's the same thing, not just here, but sitting there in South Carolina. I may live downtown Charleston, but 45 minutes out, half hour out, they have no access to the internet. It's not just, as one would say, quote unquote, you think it's a third world issue. Connectivity across the board is a problem. Literacy, bottom line, literacy is a problem until you start to make sure that basic adults are functionally literate.
Yes.
Then they can be able to, because you can't tell somebody they can't learn how to use the computer. I've taught those who others say have no skill, and they've mastered it. As a woman used the word today, it's transference. How do I make you understand that what you do is actually on a college level? You just don't know the $20 words that go with it. But a lot of it has to do with, there are things that are available across the diaspora, but Jamaica government not let them in. We shouldn't have to go on these major fundraising, wide measure things and not have access. That same pool, we've had times where there are 1 and 2 friends, I put up a post, hey, put it on this number or put it on this number, because we know that somebody sitting out in the back or wherever has 5 or 6 children that are not theirs, who have to be connected via Wi-Fi.
Yes.
It's a hard run. And it's just started. It is just started. Because what's so-called normal? Is there a new normal, or is it that normal that we used to have before? That normal we used to have before is gone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So mastering.
A lot of fundamental points being raised here, and we're just at education. But just before we continue, I want to pick up the people watching live. I know many of you are in the diaspora, and you can attest to some of the challenges, especially when it comes down to getting tools for education to students and to teachers who truly deserve it and need it. Right? So I appreciate the conversation that we're having tonight. Just want to big up Jennifer Mason from Queens, New York, watching. Yvonne Anderson. Yvonne says teachers are asked to adapt quickly to technology quickly. And I think we have to give the teachers some bit of credit for what they have done in such a short space of time, and the students as well. ZT said, Miss Mowatt, you made some great points, but the government should have allocated funds to make laptops and internet service available to every student. No student should have to fall behind. This is 2021. All right. Tessany Mowatt says, I think COVID has shed light on so many issues that we try to cover up. The very fabric of our nation is unfortunately very weak. Andrea Malcolm says, well said. Keep the comments rolling in, and please tell me where you're connecting from. We're gonna jump right over to Miss Mowatt. Which story is your top story for Jamaica news? I think you got into it when you started talking about the teachers, but tell me a little bit more about that story.
Okay, I think I saw that story on Facebook where this teacher, she was saying, she's a teacher, she loved teaching, and with the COVID restriction, you know, she was so worried about the children who did not have access to an internet and didn't have no form of learning. You know, they were playing, and she said when she walked around in the community, there were a lot of billboards that were put up that were not educational, you know, and she said she went and she put some work on a wall, and she said when she started doing it, the children were coming out. So she said it motivated her, and she got some other teachers with herself, and they went around and they started painting walls in inner city community black, and the amount of students that they had, and then they would set the work there, and they would go back, and the work was done. There was also that's my, and I think that teacher should be commended, because she didn't say if she got any help from anybody, but the first thing that she said was that she did it of her own. And I think that was very good, because she said one of the things that she believed is that every child must learn and every child can learn. There's no child who should be not able to access good education. And I think, you know, that was very, very good.
Dino, just to add, that's Tanika McCoy Phipps, teacher at Union Gardens Infant School in St. Andrew.
Yes. And I think the government, I listen to me, I applaud all the teachers, every teacher, because I know it's not easy, especially now with the online learning. You know, it's much more difficult, because I have a brother who is a teacher, and it's much more difficult. It's better when you have them face to face. The challenges that they have, some are very slow, some don't understand how to go into the different classroom, what to do, and then the parents are not able to assist because some of them do not know. And another thing too, the distraction of the online, because you will have them online and then you'll have parents calling, there's other things going on in the background, so they're not able to hear. That you don't have that one-to-one communication, because there's some distraction, you know. And I think, I don't like it. I really don't. I am not saying that they are not issues that the government is trying not to spread. But I'm saying, does this, to me, what I'm seeing is like COVID have a mind of its own. Because COVID, if you keep the children out of the classroom, keep out of school, not to spread the COVID, but yet, when you say, all right, you're going to lockdown in communities, you have people interacting. You have the COVID is like COVID don't go here, so but it can go there, so you understand. COVID can go in the upper class, but it can mix up in the middle class.
We're gonna get to that.
You know, I am so pissed with it. I am pissed because of the education part of it. You're keeping our people illiterate. And I mean, when look at Makeda, if this should continue, when it reach Makeda time, I mean, what kind of nation we're going to have? We're not going to have we have people who can't read. This is crazy. There should be measures put into place that is mandatory, that every child, don't care which part of for in a Jamaica and the in can learn, in can have access. Because if you're going to implement other things that are not necessary, but education, which is necessary, if your people is illiterate, what kind of nation we're going to have? I really don't like it. You know, I think the government can do better and should be doing better in terms of education.
Solid point. Solid point. All right, I'm going to jump over to Elizabeth. What is your next topic?
The other topic has to do with entertainment.
Yes,
And
let's talk about entertainment.
I'm looking at it from the spectator's perspective, because as someone would have wanted to enjoy entertainment of varying types, we know that restrictions were placed on the number of persons who could gather. And out of that, though, what we saw, or my observation, was that there were some virtual shows which I think were the pluses or the wins that came out of the COVID situation. And for that, I think some of us can actually celebrate and say that we enjoyed entertainment that probably we wouldn't have had access to even if there was no COVID. What comes to mind is, for example, Sunfest, fabulous show that was put on virtually. The Jamaica Festival Song Competition, where Buju Banton was the winner. And unfortunately, that was the last time we saw Frederick Tootsie Bird performing. Also, there is one Facebook page that I followed, that of Canute Neil Ellis. And we saw where he basically took an opportunity, Jamaican overseas, to start up a program wherein he was able to highlight some things that were happening within Jamaica. So we were able to see Jamaican entertainers learn a little about what was happening. Two shows that come to mind from the Canute Neil Ellis program is that of the Fab Five 50th celebration. I mean, that is longer than some of us have been alive for. And also their Christmas show with friends, where we were able to see some persons from the entertainment industry who we didn't really get a chance to see during time. But I think internationally, one of the programs that blew up Facebook and YouTube and all that was Versus with Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Yes.
And I don't know if we want to call this free promo, but the Fame Frequency party on a Saturday night. Kudos to RJR TVJ, and may I take the liberty to say Dynasty, who has started turning music on a Saturday night, as we have seen 2 times. So with that, I think there was the downside where some of our entertainers did not get a chance to work as they would have liked to. But the plus was that we were able to enjoy some shows virtually in the comfort of our living room. You party beside your bed and you sleep afterwards. Unfortunately, we had some entertainers who passed on. Of note, as we're speaking about the Jamaica Festival Song Competition, was Frederick Toots Hibbert, who passed on September 11th. But we saw where a spin came in a positive way, even though, we were saddened by his loss, because we saw with Kingston Creative murals being painted on the walls downtown Kingston, for example, on Water Lane. And for me, I think the painting of Frederick Toots Hibbert stood out among the other outstanding paintings that have been done there. So as it regards entertainment, I think that we had some pluses from a spectator's point of view.
Yes. Miss B, for you as a travel journalist, tell me now, what do you think, which event, or just based on, which event do you think you missed the most due to the COVID-19 restriction they weren't held this year?
You really don't want to go there. Remember, between March 2019 and March 2020, I spent 7 months on the island.
Yes.
So, JCDC Drum Fest and all of the full, there's a 2-3 week period that Charleston has called the Spoleto Festival. As far as I'm concerned, Jamaica should package that the final 2 weeks of JCDC finals that all happen in Kingston, that everybody travels to. That should be a package. Come to Jamaica just for them 2 weeks of culture. I don't care about the final, but them semifinals. It's amazing. So JCDC Drum Fest, Seville. Wait, no, hold up. Before that, Black River Day.
Oh yes.
August morning. You don't know how much placement it got to that did not occur. That when things were happening virtually, like, wait a second, hold up. Let me go in on my file and drop a video. Because
look here, I appreciate what they did in terms of getting some of those major events like Sumfest on our screens, right? And we could watch it and enjoy it virtually.
Didn't Sunfest rain out the year before though?
No, I don't remember that happening.
Okay, there was one big festival that they had up on the north coast that rained.
I think it was St. Mary we come from. I think that was the event.
No, I'm not St. Mary. It's a big thing that happened sometime after and a compound. Even going to a compound. These are all
the Maroon Festival.
Yeah, major outdoor event. Well, I was up there for 5 days. You can't just go for one. You have to go for the history and the flow of the place, and not just that one day. That one day has become very big that you don't, unless you know where to be, you don't even get to know what's happening under the kinder tree. So there's a lot of educational pieces that got missed.
Yes.
But me miss all of them because it was hard.
I think
haven't been there. Been there. John Connor danced around Black River Day. No, that wasn't virtual.
No, we missed out on that.
Yeah, but they'll come back again. They just have to figure out how to do the planning and outlay. But here's the thing. Jamaica people don't move that way, They really don't. Because you can't say social distance all you want in a certain space. When the vibe lick.
Yes.
Miss B, when the music hit, those social distance now go on, And Karen and Keisha Powell in the comments, and I think Caribbean Culture saying Rebel Salute. One of those events that they made.
The one that had the big rain out.
Yes. All right, I want to jump over to Miss B. What would be your second topic?
Well, it's all one. Connecting the dots across the diaspora, it's all one. And Jamaica has a distinctive opportunity, as Ms. Ludis said, we mix up and we blend up, and that gives we us. And the key thing about it is, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. There you have what I like to call the melting pot, the amalgamation of the various descendants of enslaved Africans who were brought there to work. They didn't get much indentured. Where Jamaica got those who were previously here, who did not die out, those who were indentured, and those who were enslaved, and those who were indentured, and their various cultures. And because some came in indentured, they did not have to lose a cultural identity. So in connecting the dots across the diaspora, it's following the food, following the drum, but you can do that. That's why I haven't made it to the motherland yet, because I knew Jamaica was Africa enough for me. There's so many of the continent, or so much of the continent and its variations here, that you have to start, yes, sir. True and near to my heart, the drum, and specifically the Kumina drum, because it's within, say, Santeray and Yoruba, it falls under Palo and Palo Mayombe. So when I'm overseas and them say, but wait, y'all move a certain way, I did not recognize that she who attended Catholic school and confirmed in Anglican church was doing Kumina moves. Somewhere, I mean, of a spirit. So when you brought them up in a space in America under the guise of something else, my spirit said, no, sir, that's a Jamaican something.
That's a Jamaican something.
So when you come back, you get to come now, not as a child. I was only here from 7 to 14. I'd been here at times, but never as a totally free adult, devoid of responsibilities and XYZ, would just come to walk the land. Let me see where I am. And here we go. Oh. My people them don't come from the East in any way, shape, or form. But my spirit is a whole different story. I've been to a compound that drums don't excite me. You see the Kumina drum them?
Yes.
And the feeling and freedom that's allowed? And the fact that there's 4 different roads and I haven't seen all of them yet? But I've been able to see the various genres and the different purposes that you can have Kumina for. And as Elizabeth Babsy Grange says, it will, what it said? Under the threat of disappearing if it's not passed from one generation to the next. There are many who don't recognize that within their dance hall movements are revivalist movements.
Of course,
Yes.
of course.
But they're not putting them together because them to know the foundation. We have a whole select crew of flag wavers who don't have the information to back up while they're waving the flag.
Yes.
Like Horace Matthews has said, he said that deracination. He said, why you think Independence Day going to come right after when emancipation was supposed to come? So you can remove the thought of emancipation, and that's why this whitewashing of emancipendence does not work. We must know our root. In order for the diaspora to be as strong as and connected to the island, we have to go back to the root. I have 13 nieces. They having children. You cannot look at them. They know to wave a flag, but them that know that second generation, no yard so.
Yes.
So, coming up for UNESCO, we already have Port Royal. You have Nanny Town, aka Moortown. Come in with it. Because we've got to get back to something that says, as my father would say, where your people them come from. And you have to be able to say Jamaica.
Yes.
That route works for me. And it connects the dots across the diaspora.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. And if you follow,
you see
if you follow Miss B, if you follow Miss B on social media, you would see that she always uses that hashtag connecting the dots across the diaspora.
Yes,
right? There we go. Tess says, yes, Miss Pierce is speaking my language. The Kumina drums is literally our passage to the motherland, right? Caribbean culture says, know thyself. And Ann Karen, she's responding to Tess where she says that it hurts her how you come to Jamaica and feel like a foreigner there.
Yes. Yes.
That's pointless. That's in a sense, it's disappointing for many Jamaicans, especially those living overseas and want the real Jamaican experience. Well, if you're just joining the show, this is Reading with Ashleigh-Ann Mowatt. I have a wonderful panel sharing some very important information about 2020. So we're counting down the top 20 Jamaican news stories of 2020. My panelists, you will see their names on the screen: Diana Mowat, Miss VJ Peart, and Elizabeth Gordon. Now we are halfway through and we're basically out of time. So we're gonna see if we can go through as much as possible before I get the total wrap up signal. All right. So over to you, Diana. What is next on your list?
First, before I say next on my list, I just totally agree with Miss B with back to her roots, and I can attest to that because now that I have a granddaughter, and when Ashley was pregnant, I would always sing her the folk songs. And now, Makeda, if you like I normally sing the Carrie folk singer song, Evelyn Time, this long time girl, and if you sing it to Makeda now, she dance. Yeah. Today my sister came and visit, and I was singing, and Makeda was dancing. I was singing the folk song, and she was like, "Oh, Makeda, now I'm gonna know other song. Makeda only ready to knock drum." And I say, "Yes, make sure knock down drum. We need to go back to our roots." I love that, Miss B, and that is something that, listen, that is dear to my heart. I wish we could go back. I want Makeda to, well, with her mother permission, to know her roots, to know where she's from. My second topic is this lady that has, I think, and I don't remember if it's 8 children. And when the COVID, she's a domestic helper. When the COVID came in, she wasn't able to work. And she couldn't feed the kids. They were hungry. And she said she didn't have anything to give them. And what she would do, she would teach them. She tried just to keep their minds from thinking about food. And so she wrote a letter, I think it was to one of the radio station or somebody. But what happened is that the people in the community came together and they helped her. And she got so much food that she said she was so happy that she somewhat.
Oh, it seems as if we lost the connection there.
It froze a little bit.
It seems as if we lost Diana's connection, so we'll ask her to reconnect as soon as she's able to. But I am quite familiar with the story that she's mentioning. I think what she was talking about was the story of the mother of 8 in Duhaney Park. She did get quite a number of assistance, quite a number of donations from charities and just charitable people from across the world, especially Jamaicans who saw her story in the media, and she was able to give back. So that was very, very, I think that was touching for me as well. Elizabeth, did you see that story?
Not that I can recall, but I know that there were some other cases where, persons were in really desperate situations and needed assistance. And it's really good to see how persons reached out to them and gave assistance,
I have a question though. Other than, and I understand donations, money, material goods, the whole 9. What is the next step for either the educational level or professional level or self-sufficiency level of people who are in these situations? There's got to be a road to be able to get out of so that it doesn't reoccur. Because sooner or later, food runs out, donations run out, things run out.
Yes.
How do we end up assisting folks to not be in that same rat race going through the wheel again?
Yes.
There's got to be some measure of empowerment, knowledge, and definite teaching and self-sufficiency, and if not entrepreneurship, as to how to get to the next level. I mean, yeah, poverty runs in cycles, but if you don't feed the sucker, you know, it's like I came across somebody who said they were vegan. I get it, but how the backside you don't have a garden? I don't get it.
You see, I think it comes from, I think for many people, especially based on what I've seen in my experience working with people in the inner city, it comes from the mindset. So if the mindset of those who are donating is to, all right, let me just help you out one off, or let me help you for for recognition, right? Then yeah, it's gonna be valuable, but it will not have that sustainability that Miss B is talking about. And that's why I commend organizations. I think there are quite a number of organizations across the island set up for people to gain skills.
Well, change
right?
makers. It's gotta
So that they
happen.
can change their lives and change the lives of their offspring. Because we see these stories every year. We see these stories of women taking care of a number of children. And when it is that we have natural disasters or serious crises, like the COVID-19 pandemic, they're just lost. So, very valuable point, Miss B, and it's something that we really should consider, especially when we are looking into, because I know quite a number of you watching this live now do engage in charity activity in the island. That's a consideration that you can make. How can you help these people to lead sustainable lives and be self-sufficient, as Miss B points out?
If you already know how to manage mine and coral 8-9 pitney, you know how to run a business, you know how to budget, you know, I mean, you got skills, you just don't know you have skills. And that's the part. You can't, it's like, you don't sit up there and wait for somebody else to discover that they've got talent and they've got the spark. Somebody's got to notice.
Exactly.
Empowerment is important. I cannot just keep giving you my fish. I'm tired. I showed you fish. I'll assist, but fish.
Yes.
Pardon me.
Exactly.
I want to topic them because you know there are many who have been there, done that. There's a lady, Maisha Rush does Rush Consulting. She said she was pregnant with number 5. She showed us a picture of the car, and all of them were living in that car. She's now up to, I think, 10 children, but they can afford it. She's got multiple streams of income. Like they said, there's ways to do this. Yeah, I can't say, okay, look at me, everybody different. Fit my body now work. But for those whose body works and whose mind is still clicking, come on, man. There are free college courses online. If you can watch a YouTube video, you can learn something.
You can take a course. You
can take a course.
That's it. That is it. And some of these courses, sometimes they can even take up to 14 days. In 14 days, you can learn something new. You can gain a new skill. I can attest to that. I can definitely attest to that.
If the kids are going to be on that tablet playing that game, then they better be on Spark. They better be on Google, on CS1. Teach them how to code. Everybody's not going to be a tech. Everybody's not going to be a coder. But we have to embrace the fact that technology exists. And in order to globally compete, Jamaicans have got to knock down the doors. And it can't be just those who are already in the university levels. I remember years ago when we came, we said, listen, Americans were not looking at A+ certification. But because they were raising the stats on the visa requirements to come in, I said, get your A+ certification that allows you to walk in. There is access to stuff here that in other countries folks don't have, but they're not looking at it that way. And that's crazy because it's a mixture, but there's crazy opportunity right here. Otherwise, how the heck I can't walk around the country? I'm talking to people, I find out stuff.
That's it.
I'm headed to the bread basket tomorrow.
That's
I'm
it. That's it, Miss
headed to the
B.
breadbasket tomorrow.
All right. Speaking about the bread basket, Elizabeth, can you tell me your final topic?
The final topic is that Tana your yard
Yes.
and some of the things that resulted from us being asked to stay home. And when I look at particularly the aged within our society, I see where it really took a toll on them. So we saw where, for example, Mona Aging and Wellness Center had to step forward and give some assistance to seniors. So we saw where they had a program, for example. Another situation that came up with more persons staying home to work at home and so on was the whole matter of increased utility bill. So there were persons who were saying that their bills in some cases doubled or increased even more.
Yes.
We must also commend the Ministry of Health and Wellness, because I think the Jamaica Moves program on TVJ, which catered to young persons as well as other persons within society, was also a good move.
Okay. Let me tell you, the Tanayayad campaign, let me call it that. I think it took a while for Jamaicans to appreciate staying home. And I think we also have to be fair with each other because we're the homebodies. We love to socialize. So I think it was a challenge, yes, but it wasn't an easy thing for us to do because it's not natural for Jamaicans to just stay home and do not engage. What are your thoughts on that?
Tanaya, no, we do. We are not a people who want Tanaya. Never. I don't think that that works for us because we like to interact. We like to socialize. So that is really like, as when I say, the Krampus style. So I don't think it really works that much in Jamaica, because even though they put the restrictions and so people find ways, Canada, yeah. You understand? So I don't like it. Me not Tanamia. Just let me not Tanamia. Just me.
All right, Miss B, what are your thoughts on it?
Charleston has really high numbers. Charleston's also a college town.
Yes.
I appreciated it when I'd walk a couple of blocks and I'm bombarded by a lot of drunk college students and tourists just everywhere, because now they went from the quaint restaurants inside to now taking over sidewalks and in alleys, and because the restaurants don't want to close. And listen, obviously I did not stay home. I have other health concerns. Me being in 29, the climate change is real. So for it actually being 29 to 35 degrees in Charleston, I moved there for the weather.
Yes.
My body can't do those temps. Somebody got me out of there. So we had to move safely. And like I remember one friend said, she came down before me, she just put on her post, it can be done. We masked up, stayed clean, came through, quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm blessed, I'm not gonna lie. I have folks like, hey, come here, hot second. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Oh my
Hurry
God.
up. I have folks like Bird's Eye.
Hey girls, how you doing? Hi.
I have folks like, what is it, like Bird's Eye?
Hi, lovies.
who literally came in and sang. The both of them, God bless them, they went to market for me because I couldn't go to market. So I'm gonna call them, yo, when y'all got market, come get this, I get my food too. And I had to creatively quarantine, and I did. And then as soon as I quarantined over, I'm gonna take to the road. You mask
Yes.
up on Knoxford, mask up on the coaster bus, mask up in the taxi, but no. Jamaica no make fit all of the yali hard.
No, sir.
Well, I want to share some of the comments because I see Lisa Parker saying here, I put my sights on the day when we can all be together again. But Yvonne Anderson also said, if you live in New York, you would turn your yard.
Yes.
LOL. Kelly Brown says definitely. So maybe we are also speaking from a space of privilege because for other countries, you know, the numbers are very high and the restrictions, they are being enforced. They are more enforced. And not to say that the Jamaican authorities don't, but as my mom said, Jamaicans always find a way. It's as if we lost Elizabeth. Jamaicans always find a way to go around the system. I don't know why. I don't know why we always do it, but we do. Right? I want to know what was your next pick in terms of stories for 2020, Miss B?
Oh, I can't even begin to say how many coming out of United States elections, just how many persons of Jamaican descent were elected to office in the United States.
Yes.
It's amazing. But as you know, sir, Kamala Harris and the VP, we are like that. She don't have to claim me, but we claim her. That's how we go.
Yes.
We got attorney generals, we got judges, we've got every level of city, state, and local government and federal government and the top offices that you can think, United States of America, members of the Jamaican diaspora are part of those teams.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
Yes, exactly. I think for us, the fact that Kamala Harris have some part of Jamaica inside of her, we don't know which one. We don't know if she got it from her father, right?
Yes,
Some people say she don't claim it publicly or too often.
But
Or you know.
it's all right. Root is root.
Look here,
Yes.
we still, I think a lot of Jamaicans were felt reassured
Yes.
that somebody's in our corner. I think
I think
we should
part of
have
it has to deal with the fact that it's part of the immigrant story. It's
Yes.
what we've all been asked to work for in some way, shape, or form. You come a
Yes.
John Brown country, you buckle down, you go to school, you work them job, you progress. Now, if
Yes.
an extended daughter of the land of wood and water happens to
Yes.
be the second most, what the heck?
Yes.
But yeah, the wrong things.
yes, exactly. Exactly. I remember seeing the celebration online. Look here, everybody who never have one auntie named Kamala, proud to have one auntie named
Name
Kamala.
Camilla.
You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
Everybody who named Harris, proud to name Harris.
Yes.
You will
Okay,
claim
and
your
I
Indian
think
roots?
that's one of the things that make us Jamaicans. You know.
Jamaicans, yes, and outstanding is that we have so much warmth in us, so much compassion, so much love. Because even if she don't want to, she don't acknowledge us as much. We really acknowledge her.
Yeah.
We really happy to see that she's there and happy to know that she's like a what do you call it? An achievement for us to know that we little jam down piece of rock back here, so can't have somebody sitting in the White House.
In the White House.
I mean, even if she want to big we up like that, I mean, we just for the thought of her being in the White House and coming from Jamaica is enough for us.
Yeah.
And we have a few others. When you look at the various teams that are assembled and a couple of attorney generals, there are a few others that are right on the federal level. And it's sweet, not that it gives us, per se, a leg up in discussion and this, that, and the other, but it broadens the scope of, one, just having a woman in office, a woman of color in office, a woman of color who checked the other boxes just like we did, whose parents were in this country. But it just makes you feel good.
Yes.
And pardon me, I digress.
I want to read some of the comments.
On January 20th, baby, we going to the White House.
Yes. Miguel Ekneps, I hope I pronounced it correctly, says, welcome back, Elizabeth. Zizi says, Kamala just have a beef with her dad, not Jamaica. Right? Yeah, we need to make that distinction very clear. Jessica Dunn says, root is root. Love it. Keisha says, yes to Miss Harris. I see that they're really appreciating the conversation that we're having tonight. Way over time. So I'm going to ask each of you to just give your final thoughts, right? We never quite made it to the 20, but it's all right. We get it. Your final thoughts. Let's start with you, Elizabeth. Your final thoughts on 2020 and moving forward into 2021.
Final thoughts on 2020 is that it's a time that allowed us to reconnect. And there are several names that I heard you calling. And I must big up my Michael College people because I heard the names coming across just now. And one of the things that came out of 2020 is that for the 154th batch, we were able to form a WhatsApp group, and out of that, we were able to give support to each other. There are persons from across the world who are in the group. And one of the things that we found was the challenges that we had here in Jamaica. There are countries that we thought were well advanced, which were experiencing some of the same things that we were experiencing.
Level the playing field.
Oh, yes, indeed. The digital divide got wider, though, or at least it became even more evident. But there are some opportunities that we were able to get or make of 2020. Reconnections was one of them. Persons were able to spend more time. I heard you, Ashleigh-Ann, speaking last week as you closed off about family time. And I think that families got a chance to spend a lot more time together than we probably would have spent probably in years. So it's one of those wonderful things that we were able to get out of 2020. I must also acknowledge several groups that I was a part of as teachers. My workplace, Black River High School, to all of my co-workers, my principal, Mr. Romans, and so on. Big up. Educators across Jamaica, we really grabbed hold of the reins, and in spite of the challenges, made the best of what we had. We made some really good beverage. Not just lemonade, but some really good beverage.
Yes.
I mean, at a time that was very, very trying, we were able to make the best of the trials. Yes. We just now spoke about some of the teachers who went out and did excellent work. Yes. And there are some whose names have not been mentioned, whether by social media or traditional media, who did some excellent work. And with parents saying, boy, if COVID not kill the picnic, then we're going to kill them, but we really want school to open. Was one of the things that helped us to appreciate the work of educators in Jamaica across the world, because we were able to look at other countries, learn from what we were doing, adapt, change, make do with what we had. So I think 2020 allowed for us to grab hold of some things that we probably never wanted to do. Some of us, our cooking skills improved. Some of us, the interactions and socializations really improved. And I think that these are some things that we can move forward into 2021 with. The interactions, stronger bonds, family, friends, co-workers. There were groups I was a part of, and people really came together, shared information. And I think that can only help us to become a better people. A better set of Jamaicans. So when we go hopping across the globe, we can stand even more proudly as Jamaicans and as an individual.
Yes, yes. Miss B?
Let's see. We have to big up a particular set of people.
Yes.
There were some overseas educators that got lost in the sauce, and lots of visas got shifted around. and some of them had to come home or return to their various countries. And no matter, even though they've been returned to their various countries, they're still teaching in some way, shape, or form. So I know a few of them, but one of them, me love you. All right. Jamaicans across the diaspora, it is time, as they say, to reconnect with Jamaica. They use the hashtag to be Jamaican. There were those of us who had passports of children. Well, that no exists no more. You are being called on to apply for your citizenship by descent. I mean, also no phone during COVID time. I figure, boy, where else me can go and where else do I belong to? Well, it's time to be Jamaican. Get your parents' birth certificate with the right name. Make sure say match for your birth certificate. Get 2 copies of that, $4,500 on RGD. Get $10,000 and 2 pictures and
Jamaican dollars.
Prepare that with the birth certificate to go to PICA to say, listen, I would like to apply for my citizenship by descent. Once you have been approved of being a Jamaican, beg your dog get your blow Earn your privilege and right. Make your picnic them know say what? Where the people them come from? Jamaica. When you ask them, say what? Are you ready for Jamaica?
We are.
Big up yourself for that 2021. Why? Because we survived 2020, baby. Let's get it.
That's it.
All right, it's not. There are millions who have crossed over, and we don't speak in jest. Our prayers are with you, and there are many who we've lost along the way, and will their energy to bolster us to go into these coming uncertain times, because we just have to go walk like good goat, find sure footing.
Yes. Thank you, Miss B. Thank you, Miss B. All right, Miss Mowatt.
Well, my closing thoughts are, first and foremost, I salute my Jamaican people. As Miss Luda said, we no thank you, we bunanas, but we big and we broad. And the COVID and 2020 has showed us that we are a resilient people. Yeah. We can, this awareness we turn when picnic shot fit you. I don't remember it now, but we turn me on and make fashion, because all who lose their work and couldn't find something to sustain, and we are managing. So I salute you, Jamaican, and my people, as Empress would say, my people, I salute you. Another thing, I lift my hats off to the teachers. Oh my, kudos to you guys. You have gone above and beyond. I know it's not easy with the online and getting the work done, and for those who have go out in the community, for those who weren't mentioned, but they've in some way they have helped. I am so proud, and I lift my hats off to you. And let me tell you, 2021, I have this for 2021. But we not with our we did this. We prepare Jamaica all the way. Just as how we back to 2020, we go turn up in a 2021. We are a resilient people, and I'm proud of my people. And I know we can do this, and we are doing it. We are doing it. COVID can't did go take worse than COVID to come cut we down. And if we can manage 2020, then, because listen to me, 2020 has showed us that it's not normal again. It's not what we used to. It's different. We will never get back what we were used to. But guess what? We manage. You understand? Love you people.
All right. I just want to read. Josephine Reed said, yes, Grandma Dana Mowatt. If Yvonne Anderson said, big up all Jamaicans, and Karen said, bye 2020. Yes. Jem Henry said, yes, Miss B. Caribbean Culture said, great conversation, ladies. All the best, I guess, for 2021. We're little but with Salawa. I want to now say Happy New Year to all of you, because I'm still the start of the show now, but I knew that I was going to leave it out before ending the show. So Happy New Year, Happy 2021. For those who don't acknowledge January as the start of the new year, that's all right. Happy 2021. All the best to you, and you have it in you to be great, just as though you made it and survived 2020. Nobody watch overseas, as Elizabeth said. The whole of we not have no more third world country. The whole of we a third world. Yes. The whole of we upon level playing field. So let us play ball, right?
Yes, pivot and survive.
And Ashleigh-Ann, one of the things that we also need to do is to acknowledge the children and the parents, because they are the ones who, through determination and perseverance, really stood the test of time and came out. They are also to be acknowledged as champions of what has happened.
Yes. And as you say that, there are some Jamaicans who lost their jobs, or even didn't have a job before COVID, and with COVID, their chances of getting a job or being employed diminished, and them turn them and make fashion. I want to think about my mom, who went ahead and started her own little business, baking cakes, and had so many orders this Christmas. Even up to today, she had customers coming for her Christmas cake. Look here, you don't have to stop in 2020. Continue it in 2021. All those new ventures that you started, you can do it. This is the normal. No new again. This is the normal. Yes. All right. This is exactly how we'll have to wrap the show. Jamaican.com don't give me no more time, right? And I really appreciate all Miss BJ Peart and Elizabeth Gordon, Diana Mott, Makeda.
Ashleigh.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all my viewers who were watching and commenting live. I'm trying my best to reply to as many comments as possible. Until next time, come reason with me.
Yes. Bye.
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 Bye.